Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about NBA's team, the Los Angeles Lakers, and how they didn't make the play-in tournament. So that's pretty surprising. I mean, obviously, if you've been watching this year, it's not surprising, but because they've been awful, they've been terrible. And you guys know, if you saw some of my earlier videos, like I had big question marks about the Lakers going to this year. Now, even I didn't think they'd be this bad. Like I thought they'd, at least make the playoffs. I thought they'd be a first or second round exit, something like that. But man, they don't even make it in the play-in tournament. Like, like the teams. There's two teams ahead of, like the Spurs and the Pelicans. They're in rebuild mode. They're not even trying to win really. And the teams behind them, they're trying to tank. Like the four teams behind the Lakers are trying to tank. So, I mean, the Thunders, the Rockets, I mean, those teams are terrible. But the Lakers are a contending team, and they've just been, they've been awful. So the question is why? What happened? So like I said, I had question marks going into this year. The biggest one was the Russell Westbrook trade. I didn't like that. I didn't like that move at all. I didn't think it made sense. I thought they should have, gotten Buddy Hield or DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, somebody who could shoot on the perimeter. But yeah, instead they opted out for Russell Westbrook, and funnily enough, like that move hasn't really worked out. But Westbrook's been their most consistent player. He's played like I think 76 games. It's crazy. He's been their most consistent player. He hasn't been very good, but he's been Russell Westbrook. Like he's doing the same thing he's always been. He's always been an inefficient player. The only difference between him and his previous season is that obviously his usage rate is less. So he's accumulating less stats. Because he has a smaller part of the offense, but in general, like his play has been pretty consistent. It's been. I'm not a huge Russell Westbrook fan. I've always thought he's a little bit overrated, and but he at least he shows up. At least he's healthy and he's showing up, and that's more than you can say about Anthony Davis. Which, in my opinion, he's the #1 reason the Lakers haven't done anything the past 2 years, is because he just can't stay healthy. That guy's made out of glass, and I don't know what's going on. I've heard rumors about his that he might not be doing the things that he needs to be doing in the offseason to stay healthy. I don't know if that's true or not. Some big man, they just get old really quick. I remember Andrew Bynum, really bad knees. Look at Greg Oden. There's a lot of big men who have injury issues and they can't stay healthy. So that could be a reason. So I don't know, but he just hasn't been on the court. And even when he's on the court, he doesn't look like Anthony Davis. He's shooting 19% from three-pointers. He should be in his prime years. Like, the idea was of putting LeBron and him together was like, it's like putting Kareem and Magic. Like, Kareem was older and Magic was this young, youthful energy. And even though Kareem's skills were slowly going downhill, like LeBron's are, Magic was taking off. So it was a good balance, and they were able to win some championship. But LeBron's, I think, held up his end of the bargain. I just think Anthony Davis, has not. Yeah, it just, man, he just does not look like he's getting worse, and he's only 28. So it's, 27, 28 years old. Those should have been prime years. Usually your prime in basketball is 27 to 32. So he should be in his prime right now, and yeah, something's not right. Something's not right there. But so that's the #1 reason they're not going anywhere. The second reason is Rob Pelinka. I think he did a very poor job of assembling this roster. Obviously, the Russell Westbrook was, I was critical about that. But even the rest of it, I thought Kendrick Nunn was a good move, but the guy's been hurt the whole year. So I won't blame Rob Pelinka for that. I like the Malik Monk move. I thought that was a good move, but all the other guys, I mean, the Rondos, the Howard, the Carmelo. I mean, Carmelo Anthony's been good offensively, but defensively, I mean, he's awful. Avery Bradley, at times he's been okay, but the Trevor Ariza, I mean, all these guys, like, they were really, really old, and they're really washed up. So he assembled a roster that was just too old. And because of that, they can play defense. I mean, even Frank Vogel's a defensive-minded coach, and they can play defense. So, especially in today's NBA, you have to cover more ground because there's more shooters, more perimeter shooting, more three-pointers. And so you need young guys to run around. And when you've already got a 37-year-old in LeBron James, you need the other guys to be youthful and running around, chasing those perimeter players. And the Lakers are too old. They didn't have those guys. That's why Austin Reeves is playing so many games. That's why a few other, I think the other guys like Stanley Johnson or something, they were trying to have younger players that could chase down perimeter shooting because defensively they were just awful. So, and then the second thing that Pelinka messed up is not enough shooting, And so, he got rid of the Carusos, he got rid of the Danny Greens, he got rid of the Kyle Kuzmas, he got rid of Dennis Schroeder. The problem is when you get rid of all those guys, those might not have been the sexiest name. You say, well, why do those guys matter? But for the Lakers, they were instrumental in their championship win, and they are instrumental because they're very complementary with LeBron James' skill set. LeBron can distribute to those guys, and those guys can all shoot threes, and they were all very good defenders. And that's what LeBron James needed this year. Like if you were gonna have guys that play along with LeBron James, that's what you needed. Now, if you had all those guys and you still had Russell Westbrook or Kendrick Nunn, fine, right? Great. But you needed all those perimeter defenders and guys that can shoot. And the Lakers had none of that. So, I mean, the only exception was Malik Monk, and you needed more of that. So those are the big two mistakes of Pelinka that he made, was not enough perimeter shooting, and defensively, they were just too old. I mean, even Vogel, defensive coach, like I said, couldn't get them to play a lick of defense. And then the third reason is obviously LeBron James is getting older, and he's again going to play less than 60 games this year, unless he plays, I think, every game remaining out, but he's got that ankle injury, so I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, he might win the scoring title, but he's playing less and less games. And so injuries, were a big problem for the Lakers this year. They just had they just could not get over that hump. They couldn't get any consistency, and because of that, I mean, they're not even going to make it to the play-in, which is crazy. Because, like I said, they were picked by Las Vegas to be the second most likely team to win it all, and they're literally not even going to make the playoffs. In the history of the NBA, I think that's never happened. That's a team that was so highly favored doesn't even make the playoffs. And the second team that might do that, funnily enough, might be the Brooklyn Nets, if they don't make it out of the play-in tournament. But at least the Brooklyn Nets made it to the play-in, and they were above 500, and so, and we'll see. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets can still do something and make it to the playoffs, but I think it's going to be tough for them too. But anyways, going forward, I don't know what the Lakers are going to do, because I don't really see an obvious solution to this roster, because, how do you get Anthony Davis healthy? LeBron James not going to get any younger. How do you trade Russell Westbrook? Cap-wise, how do you bring in new pieces? they're going to have to be very creative or rebuild. And the other thing is, does LeBron James want to stay in LA? Or maybe he wants to go to the Clippers. But I heard that rumor, and I thought that was interesting because the Clippers, you know, they have Tyronn Lue, the coach he likes, and they got a much better roster. So I thought that was really interesting. I don't think that's going to happen, but that was interesting. But yeah, or maybe LeBron wants to go back to Cleveland, right, with the younger roster. But yeah, because I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't work right now. It's just not working, and yeah, I don't see how the Lakers can fix this. I really don't. So, anyways, that's all I had on this. I'm really excited about the playoffs coming up. We got the play-ins and then all the playoffs. I think it's wide open in the West and the East. It's more top-heavy in the West, and then the East is more balanced. But yeah, these playoff series are going to be intense. So stay tuned because I'm definitely going to be talking about it. All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. Hope everything but the best to all you watching this. And bye, guys.